Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm going to try to take you off of mute. Feel free to take yourself off of mute and tell me how you're doing. My name is Deb Cole, and I've been sending you guys emails. Here we go. How is everyone?
I'm all right, I guess.
You guess, is it something going on with school?
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I would say I'm doing good.
Excellent, excellent. Everybody getting ready for their posters?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm giving everybody permission to talk. Feel free to take yourself off of mute. You can use the Q&A feature, or you can raise your hand and let me know if you have any questions at any time. I'm happy to answer them. Brian Thomas may be joining us, and he was supposed to be the presenter for this, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for my my presentation abilities, but we're going to give it the best we can. Okay, guys? And my name is Deb, as I said, and I'm always available if you have any questions at all.
Hi, everybody.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And does it say full screen now, poster session how to?
Yes.
Fabulous. Okay, thank you guys. A kind of stress in class at the moment. Okay, well, you're more than welcome to listen in. This session is being recorded and we will be posting it to the student poster page. I'll send all that information out tonight afterwards to everybody that registered as well as those that didn't, so you have it. But at any point in time, guys, feel free to raise your hand. I'm going to try to keep my eye on that, or take yourself off of mute and just ask if you have any questions at all. This is a learning session for you. Get all your questions answered. And afterwards, if you have any questions, of course, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, I'm giving you guys all permissions to talk. All right, so let's get started. Be respectful of everybody's time. So this is the poster session how to, right? I don't know who here, I guess by a show of hands, who here has presented before virtually? Oh, awesome, awesome. Does anyone want to share their experience? Feel free to take yourself off of mute if you want.
Yeah, I'll just share my experience. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was a little different than, obviously being in person, but it was kind of a bit more relaxing since you just have to kind of record yourself and then, you're at the comfort of your own home. So I liked it, but it would have been nice to be in person to really practice those social skills and interactions with people.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. In the virtual world here, it is convenience, and it does allow more students to participate, from places where they maybe wouldn't have been able to travel before. But as you're right, it misses that personal piece, right? The shaking of the hands, that, eye contact with your judges, and possibly even making those mentor connections. Anybody else want to share their experience? Okay. If not, we're going to get going here. All right, so this is what this session is going to cover. We're going to give you an overview of what the poster session is going to be. Then we're going to talk about recording your poster presentation, give you 3 options for that. We're going to give you a how-to on uploading your material to Symposium. And then there's also a checklist for October the 11th that you can use to make sure that you've done everything you need to do. And then there's also a checklist for the day of the poster session on October 23rd. And then we're going to have, of course, Q&A. But feel free, as I said, raise your hand if you have any questions. Use the Q&A box. I'm going to do my best I can to manage that stuff. Oh, I got a Q&A right now. Oh, yep, the recording will be sent out. I will send it to all of the people who registered, even those that didn't, who are supposed to be presenting. Okay. All right, let's get going here. So I don't know if everybody realizes this or not, but this is actually part of a much larger event. It's a 3-day event. It's a conference called the Louis Stokes Midwest Regional Center of Excellence. We are one of 8 centers of excellence that the LSAMP NSF funds. And we are what they call the dissemination hub. So our job is to share information, provide platforms for people to share information. So that's why we host the conference. Now, this is also the 30th anniversary of LSAMP. I don't know who here is an LSAMP scholar. Raise your hand if you are. Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, 30th anniversary. So we'll be having a couple events around that as well. And you'll see that they're in here in the agenda. So we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday from 1 to 3, that's the poster session. And then 2 to 3 is the award ceremony. You'll want to make sure you show up to the award ceremony because we are giving out cash prizes to the top posters. And then also there's a People's Choice Award. If you want more information about this, again, I'm going to send these slides and everything, so this will be clickable and you can go browse. But here is the conference website. Here is the full agenda where you can go peruse all the speakers, etc. Any questions so far?
Nope, all good.
Oh, good. All right, here we go. So the actual poster session. So as we talked about, virtual is a little bit different, because we're not bringing our posters and pinning them up and standing next to them. Instead, we've got to kind of make a virtual space for it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this, it's a platform called Symposium. It's a really cool platform. You can feel free to go check it out. But basically they host poster sessions. That's basically their primary goal. And it's really cool. And we'll go peruse that here in a second. But one thing you need to know, by Monday, October the 11th, that's 1 week from today, I need everybody to upload your material. And I will be sending out the link directly to that. I'll be sending out reminders. And of course, if you have any questions or have any problems, don't hesitate to reach out. So after you upload it on October the 11th, you really don't have to do anything other than just practice. Practice your presentation if you want to go ahead and, if you're doing an oral, or if in fact you just want to do it, for yourself, your own professional growth. Get familiar with your material because during the conference, people will be asking you questions in the comment box, and that way you can answer them fully. So after we submit on the 11th, from the 15th to the 21st, the judges, they're assigned to your posters. They'll go out, they'll look at your poster, they'll look at the video, and they may or may not post comments in there during that time, but they will be submitting their scores for your poster. And those scores are the ones that determine the top posters. The People's Choice, though, is still available during the day of the conference for voting. So the next thing you need to worry about after you submit is on Saturday, October 23rd, from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, everybody needs to log into Symposium. And you need to locate your poster, and then you need to monitor the comment box. And that is the extent of it for the poster session. But it is really nice to have people come out, ask you questions, and you can respond to them. And then also during that session, you're more than welcome. In fact, it's encouraged that you go out and you view other people's posters. So you can see what other people are doing. Maybe if there's a research project that you liked, you could check out who their mentor was. And if you're thinking about going to graduate school or even postdoc, then you can go ahead and reach out to that mentor. And speaking of that, the platform that we use for the conference, which is Whova, I'm going to give everybody access to that too. All of the judges, all of the conference participants are listed in there. So if there's somebody that you see, somebody's name that you see, you can go back in there for the next 6 months after the end of the event, and you can actually communicate with them either through that platform or just email them directly. Any questions so far? Any questions about this? Oh, I got one in the Q&A. Let's see here. Nope. All right, you ready to move on? Okay.
I just have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So if we have any attendees, like friends that want to log in, can they also log in to see at any time the research?
They will. They can.
Okay.
They can do that. What I will need is if you could give me their email, and I need to give them permission, and I need to give them permission to create an account to access our posters, because some people said don't publish my material, and that's completely understandable. So we try to have it in kind of in a closed environment. But if you let me know who you want to have in it, absolutely, we can add whoever you want. I'm happy to do so.
Great. Yeah. All right. I'll reach out to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any raised hands? All right, and just for those that joined us, feel free to post your questions in the chat box or raise your hand. Or you can also use the Q&A. All right, we're going to move on to the next thing. So we talked about how you need to upload your materials. Here is the list of materials that you need to upload. Number one, the poster that you created. Like if you went to a traditional conference, you would have something to pin up on the wall, and it would be in a PDF form that somebody went and printed large format. You need that PDF form of your poster for upload. The other thing is you're going to be recording yourself, whether it's your voice, whether it's you actually presenting, whatever you recorded, that also needs to be uploaded. And we're asking everybody just to keep it less than 5 minutes. And typically, on average, I would say 3 to 5 minutes. I would probably say not less than 3. But if you say I'm can get it done 2.5 minutes, then that's wonderful. All right, the information you need to have on hand when you go to log into the system and upload your information, and this should be in your abstract. You should have your poster title. You should have the abstract body, which is the paragraph underneath the institutions and the authors. Then you have to have your list of authors and institutions and school affiliations. So if you have, say, 3 or 4 authors on your poster, you need to make sure that you have that information on hand just to be able to upload it so they can also be listed on that poster. And then the other thing is just your presenters' major areas of concentration. So one of the things that we're going to ask is, what grade level are you? What is your what's your program or what's your degree that you're seeking? And then the other thing we're going to ask is, what area does this poster fit into? And there's a drop-down list that you can select from, and it's a multi-select, so it can be part of multiple groups. And again, all of this needs to be uploaded by October the 11th. Do we have any questions? Oh, is that a raised hand?
Yeah, I just have a question. For the
Yeah.
abstract body, do you want us to include in the poster or just keep that separate?
Traditionally, you would put it in the poster. And so for your own okay, to be honest, you can reuse your poster at different conferences, right? And
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah. So like if you think that you're going to travel and go to EARN or something like that, I would put it in there, and that way it's good to go.
Okay, so just keep the abstract there. Yeah, because currently I have mine there, so I don't know if we should take it out or.
Oh no, you can have it you're talking about in the poster itself, right? Like in the upper left-hand corner underneath like the
Yes,
background
exactly.
area. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would include that so you can reuse this poster. So that way you'll just have to print large format it and it's done, right? You don't have to remove everything else around and try to figure it in. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't want to mess with
Thank
that. You. All right. Any other questions? Oh, Brian.
Yes, the thing is that my mentor had told me that usually, because then she was telling me that in math, usually there's no abstract within the actual poster.
Okay.
That's the thing that I don't currently have it on the poster,
Okay.
so I have to just edit it and put it inside.
Well, I mean, this is something that could be very unique to mathematics and something that maybe I'm not familiar with. I have a few faculty members that are mathematics professors, and I can ask them if in fact this is something that's the case. But I would follow what your mentor says. If your mentor says, hey, we don't need it for our presentations that we do at our conferences that are specific to mathematics, then don't do it. You need to follow what your discipline has. But in general, almost all different disciplines within STEM should have an abstract. I mean, basically, you're just saying what your research question was, what you did, but I know in mathematics, how do you explain that, right?
Yeah.
Right, I know, I get you. So I think that in that case that you don't have to have it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, we're going to move on. So the next thing is, recording your presentation. Oh, okay. Somebody's putting in the questions, and I'm just going to answer these questions right now. One of them says, will Symposium ask us for the poster information? If you're talking specifically about like the graphs or the outcomes or the citations or something like that, no, you don't need that. The only thing that you need is you need to upload the actual PDF of the poster and the abstract body, and then also know who your authors are and their institutions. Does that answer your question, Marla? If not, go ahead and please write to me again. Oh, awesome, thank you. And somebody else wrote, is the abstract body the same abstract we included in our poster? Oh, Yep, it sure is. That's typically what you include, and the body is just the paragraph underneath the authors and the institutions. You don't need to include citations. You don't need to include acknowledgements because that will be somewhere else on your poster as well. Did that answer your question about the abstract body? Okay, if not, please feel free to put something in the chat. All right, so let's go into recording our presentation. So there's three main types of presentation recordings, or I guess three different like groups, if you will. The first one is the voiceover, right? Where I'm just recording my voice and all you see is my poster and that's my presentation. The other one is where you're just seeing me, I'm not sharing my screen and I'm presenting while you're opening up the poster in PDF and looking at it while I'm just talking to it. The third one is much like what we do with Zoom here, right? Where we have the corner of the person speaking and then we have the shared screen. So that's the one that I would recommend if you have the technology to do so. And we're going to talk about those tools here in just a minute. So the first one that we talked about, the voiceover. So the voiceover, and I have examples here that we can go to look at. But the basically is that, you know, the voiceover is super quick. You can get it done really quickly. You can tools are readily available. You can use your cell phone. The one thing is that, you know, the judges and the attendees, they don't get to see you. They don't get to see, you know, your engagement with your material. And the other thing is there's no way for you to really kind of like highlight what you're talking about, right? You just have to speak to it and try to describe exactly where you are on the poster. If you want to do just a voiceover, here are the tools that you can use. They're readily available. And then an example of what I'm talking about when I say just voiceover is here. Is everyone clear when I say just voiceover? Raise your hand if you would like to see an example. All right, we'll go do that. All right, so I'm going to try to open this, and I apologize. I don't know what's going to happen when I open this as far as like where my share screen is going to go. All right, can you guys see that it changed or not? Nope. All right, I want to reshare. Here we go. All right, so here I am, I'm on Symposium. Here's an example of a poster that just has voiceover. So I can see the title here. I can see, oh, it's a voiceover, but when I click this, it will play. And it is just, you know, make sure that you guys can hear it. Audio settings. Here, I'm going to share sound. All right, we're going to hit it again.
And my name is Caroline Scala. This summer, we worked with our mentor, Dr. Heber, on a project titled Analyzing the Performance of the Whale Optimization Algorithm.
So that is an example of just voiceover. I'm not seeing the author presenting any part of it, and I'm not just seeing their head either. I'm just seeing their poster and them just speaking in the background. Does that make sense now?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to stop share and I'm going to go back to our presentation. Possibly. There we go. So that's voiceover. Number two, we've got the presenter only, and that's where it's kind of like the talking head. Tools, again, are readily available. You could just kind of film yourself on your phone if you wanted to. But as I said in the previous one, one of the things that you lack when you're in this space here and you're not referring to something on the poster, people don't know what you're talking about unless you're very descriptive in your description of when you're speaking. Like I'm talking now about the introduction, blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you have it in the third way that we're going to show, you get to do both. So here is an example of that. And I think that this is pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to open it and I'm going to stop my share and reshare. Okay. Can you see? Here we go. Share. All right. So here we are in Symposium again. Again, the title, here is the poster. The poster, by the way, you can like zoom in on, people can zoom in on it, zoom out of it. You can also make this bigger if you wanted to, if you want to see it bigger. But here is an example of what I call the talking
Hello,
head.
my name is Annalise Kamir, and I will be presenting on my research project, Assessing Water Quality Resilience by Utilizing Pressure-Dependent Demand in Water Distribution Systems. So drinking water distribution system.
So in my opinion, and I don't know if everybody here agrees, that both of the first two that we showed, it lacks something, right? It lacks that engagement. So my recommendation, if you have the technology, to do the third option that we're going to talk about just now. Anybody have questions on this one? Q&A, anything in the Q&A?
I did have a question for this one.
Yes.
I can see on the poster, they didn't include the abstract. Is that okay if we don't include the abstract?
We were just talking about that. For myself, I would tell my students that it is usually something that is included, or at least used to be historically. Maybe I'm old and they don't do that thing anymore. But honestly, it used to be a thing where you put the abstract usually in the upper left-hand corner, and it would be called the background or something like that. And I see they did something a little bit different, and I think that that's okay. Our judges aren't going to be nitpicky like that. The only reason why I was suggesting that maybe you do want to include it, because if you're going to create the poster, you got to go through the labor anyways, even if you're not going to print it out and stand next to it. However, there might be a conference coming up once COVID gets out of here and we can go travel again, and you might be able to go to another big conference, and then your poster's done, especially if they say they want an abstract in the corner, and a lot of times they will. But you don't have to. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to hit stop share. We'll go back to our presentation. Maybe. Yes. Here we go. So number 3, this is my favorite. This is the one I think that is the best. I think it comes across a lot better and allows people to kind of be a little bit more interactive. You know, we talked about how before, you know, you weren't able to see, the judges weren't able to see, the attendees weren't able to see you actually engaging with the material. This one does that because, you know, when I'm here in Zoom and I'm moving my mouse around, you can see where I'm moving my mouse, right? So like when I'm talking to the poster, I could be circling things, I could be underlining things as I'm talking to it. So now they know exactly where I'm at in the poster. The only thing is that, you know, this can take a lot of time to get it right. And so in that way, that is the con. But again, this is the one I would go with. Tools that can be used. There's a number of tools here, Zoom with a webcam, PowerPoint recording, etc. Anybody that doesn't have the technology that would like to do this option, please reach out to me because I would be happy to do a Zoom meeting with you and we can record it as many times as we need to. So just know that. All right, so here's an example of that one. Stop share, reshare in a minute. Shoot, sorry guys, I'm struggling. Oh, I know why, because I've got that pop-up window going. It won't let me do it. Here we go. Oh, maybe not. I'm gonna just copy that then. Hang on, guys, give me 1 second. I thank you for your patience. I gotta go grab that link. It's not letting me click it. All right. There we go. Go back to present. Swap. All right. So 1 more second and we'll be on track again. So we're going to share screen. I'm going to share. So I'm going to paste this link in here. And here's an example of the one that, you know, the person's in the window, you can see them and they're speaking to their poster. Another thing I want to post to point out is that there's several ways you could even do this. The first one is where you have your poster and you zoom in on it as you want to, and you use your mouse, you know, during your presentation. Or the other thing is, and I've seen a lot of people do this because sometimes it's just easier, is they break their poster down into different slides. I'm going to show you what this one looks like here.
Hi, my name is Arshad Kumar, and
I'm gonna fast forward it so you can see. I promise you, there we go. So that's an example of one that kind of has both of them. And as I said, you can see my mouse when I move it, and that's what I love to use when, presenting something like that. Or if you want to not have it so big and you want to have slides, you could do that too. Any questions about the third option? I see there's, okay. Go ahead, Malaya.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
I sure can. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
That's fantastic. Well, my question was for the third option. I noticed you said you could do it over Zoom and there's a few options there. If I were to do it over Zoom, do I just make my own meeting where I'm like just the only one there? Or does someone else have to be in there?
No, they don't.
Oh, so I could just do it myself and then record it
Yeah.
through Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I believe you could. I believe you can. Hang on. I believe you can. I've done it before. Yeah. And actually, you know what I've done? I take that back. I joined via my phone. So you do have to somebody join just so that you could have like that we broadcast it or whatever you start the meeting.
You know what, that works out. I'm lucky and I got my phone and my computer, so I'll just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Anyone else have a question? Feel free, guys, to use the raise your hand feature or the chat box or even the Q&A if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to keep chugging along here. All right. So, we talked about 3 different ones and we talked about different tools that you can use, but this is just kind of a graph to show you by different method what tools are available or which ones do those different tools. If you need to know a little bit more about recording, your screen and your webcam, there's more information here. There's like several different things that we put here. So feel free to browse those. If you get stuck and you're like, I don't know how to do this, or I'm thinking about doing it this way, but it's not working, reach out. I'm happy to help you and we can just set up a one-on-one along those lines. All right. Questions, raise your hand if you need anything. Okay. All right. So tips for recording. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen where screen's here, the person's chin's like here, and everything else is like their ceiling. Or they have light going on in the background and they're just like a shadow. So here's just a few like tips that I would use to make sure that you get a good video recording. The first thing is you use your earbuds, right? You got your earbuds here, you got your mic, and that way, your voice is here. You can use your AirPods if you have AirPods. I'm not that rich, but anyways, you can use your earbuds. I like to do it in a quiet space because, that background noise, even though it doesn't seem like it's loud when you're listening to the recording, man, it's amazing. One of my videographers told me one time, he goes, the eyes can forgive, but the ears can't. Meaning that, you really need to make sure that the sound that you're putting on video is of quality. The other thing is that you're going to save your files as an MP3 or MP4. MP3 is just for audio if you're just doing the voiceover. MP4 is what you could use to upload that to YouTube, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So if you're going to do the presenter only, basically methods 2 and 3, your room background, we talked about, how, sometimes it's like this and I just see a ceiling. Well, just kind of, look around, get your camera up, check to see what's behind you, because you don't want something growing out of your head, or something like that. The other thing is camera angle. So, if it's down like that, you're not going to see something. If it's up like this, you're not going to see that. So make sure it's kind of like more like this. I'm sorry, I keep looking over here because I can't see what I look like. So anyways, so just make sure it's just kind of angled nice. And then the other thing is the lighting. You want to use diffuse lighting. So like right now I'm sitting here, I've got my blinds open and I'm sitting kind of like in front of a window. And that, at least gives some lighting so that you can see the person's features. Any other questions or anybody else have any other tips they want to share? We're all good? All right.
Yep, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, some people are like, okay, well, what should my presentation include? I mean, yeah, you're talking about recording it, but like, what do I record? If you are stuck and you don't know, what typically a poster would include, I would seriously consider carving out an hour of your time and looking at this presentation that was put together by 2 doctoral candidate students in the Bridge to the Doctorate program. It is phenomenal. They really deliver the material that's like to the point. It's very clear. It's exampled. It's beautiful. So if you really are stuck, feel free, or I should say, I encourage you to look at this presentation. And again, this will be sent to you, so it'll be clickable and you guys can view all of these different links that I'm talking about. So the next one is uploading it. So we've recorded it. Now we need to upload it. By what date? October the 11th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So in order to upload it, first thing you need to do is you need to create your account. And you're going to click on this link, and I will send this to you in the email because, I'm going to send out reminder emails, saying, please upload your stuff, please upload your stuff. And I'll have all the links in there. You're going to click on this link, and this box over here is going to pop up, or a box similar to this. You're going to use the email address that you used when you submitted your abstract, because that's the one that I've given permission to the system to allow an account to be created. If you don't remember what that email was, reach out to me. I'm happy to give it to you. You're going to create your password. You put your first name and your last name, and then you sign up. And once you sign up, now you're golden. All right. The next thing is I'm going to give you a separate link, and the separate link is for submission. And you click this and you upload your information, and there's this form. And I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't have it to, well, let me see. I could probably show you right now. It's not finalized, and it's not going to be open for submission until the 6th. So I will send that out probably tomorrow with a reminder to start sending it on the 6th, between the 6th and the 11th. But basically, you're going to come in here. It's going to say Symposium Presentation Submission. It's going to ask for your first name, last name, email, classification. And then the other things it asks for is basically what degree are you seeking? What categories does your poster fall into? The title of your poster, other authors, the institutions of those other authors, and then the body of the abstract. Those are the things that we've talked about before, that checklist. Those are the things that you need to make sure you have when you're going to submit. I will send these links out. If anybody has any problems or runs into anything, let me know. I'm going to see if I can open this up right now. It's not going to be, as I said, perfect because it's not ready to go, but let's see here. What are you guys seeing right now? Are you still seeing that old slide?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, hang on. Let me reshare. Oh, there we go. All right. So here it is in Symposium. And you can see you go down here and it's like, what's your major? Additional presenters. You can put up to 5 different presenters. The presentation information. So you put your title in here. And if you notice that they do have some text edits. So if you have either subscript or superscript or anything that's fancy script, you can go ahead and do that. And just remember that when you copy and paste from one system to another, sometimes it strips it of that. So make sure that you look at everything very closely, especially if you do have those type of special symbols in your abstract in title. Then you're going to put in your abstract here. That's the abstract body. If you want, this is not required, you could put who your mentor is here. Again, that might be helpful either to other people who like your project and might want to work with your mentor, or for other mentors to connect with them. You're going to pick your subject, and you can pick as many of these as you want. Now, these right now are not tailored to us, and they will be. They'll literally be the ones that match up to the ones that we had in the submission form. So you can select as many of those that fit your particular poster, and then your presentation type, there'll only be one listed here, and you'll do that. You'll upload your PDF slide. You'll put a link here for your video, whatever you recorded. And the link is going to be to a YouTube that you published, or you didn't publish it, you published it unlisted. So that MP3 or that MP4, you can go ahead and upload to YouTube. And then when it says, do you want to publish it for public, private, or unlisted, you're going to select unlisted. You're going to grab that link, that YouTube link, and you're going to put it right here. Now, if you have questions about that or how you do any of that as far as uploading things to YouTube, there are help videos down here, and they're actually helpful, which is nice. So again, if you have any questions or you run into anything, you can always reach out to. Any questions about the form?
Does it have to be a YouTube specific video?
Well, it has to be at least published somewhere where there's like a link that we can get to it, and it has to be unpublished. I would
Alright.
suggest YouTube. What were you thinking? Is there another product that you use?
I personally recorded my video using Zoom, and I saved it as an MP4 file. So I don't know if there's a way to create a link just by like working on it on the computer without publishing it or not.
Oh, so yes. So what you can do is then what you'll do is you'll take the MP4 player. You're going to go out here. I'm going to just do YouTube. Okay, YouTube. So here we are. Here's our account for the center. I say that and then I put a So I've logged in now to YouTube. I've got the MP4 player. All I need to do is I need to click this right here, this create video. I say upload video. I find that file. We're just going to go through this because might as well. Oh, sorry, the toolbar's in my way. Get out of my way, dude. All right. So as you can see, it's kind of working. It's putting things up there. Now, this is where you could put your title in. So this could be the title of my poster. If you want to put a description of this is my submission for such and such a conference, you can do that. If you want to put your whole abstract there, you can do that. It's entirely up to you. So now, if you notice, you'll come down here and it gives you a couple options. You can do a couple of these things. I don't really do a lot of things unless I want to put it in a playlist of some kind. Like if I were going to store all of my presentations somewhere, I might put it in that playlist. But for the most part, you don't have to touch any of that. Then once you go to next, it gives you a couple other options. I usually don't touch any of that. I hit next again. And then here is where you get to choose if you want it private, unlisted, or public. You want to click unlisted. When you do that, you hit save. You can hit close on this. And then you can go right back into that same video and you can just grab the link. The link's here. And that's the link that you would use to upload into Symposium.
All right, thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Awesome. And if anybody runs anything, as I said, please reach out. I'm here for that. All right, I'm going to stop share. We're going to go back to the slides really quickly. And we're going to get the rest of these done quickly, guys, because I know you probably have a lot of stuff going on. Let's see here. Share screen. All right. So here we are. We've uploaded our stuff to Symposium. Now we can like sit back, right? Because remember, we don't have to do anything between like the 11th and the 23rd. But here is a checklist for you to make sure that these are the things that you've done before the 11th. You want to make sure that you've completed your poster and saved it as a PDF file. You need to figure out what method that you want to record your presentation as. You're going to record it, again, 5 minutes or less. You're going to upload it. Here are some more instructions if that wasn't clear, or if you just need to refer to something again, there's that. And then again, you just want to set it as unlisted. And then you need to make sure that you upload your poster unlisted, that link to Symposium. All of this stuff is due Monday, October the 11th at 11:59 p.m. Any questions? Q&A, do we have something in the Q&A? We will use our personal YouTube account to upload our video. Yes, you can use your personal YouTube account. Since it's unlisted, it's not really attached to an account per se. We'll still be able to access it, but like people won't know it's necessarily from your account. If you will. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Any questions about what we need to include in our uploads?
Yes.
Yes.
I know you mentioned this earlier, but
Mhm.
if we had already recorded a video, but we need to condense it because it's too long, what
Yeah.
specifically did you want us to include in our recording again?
Those things, which here is a presentation of the things that you can record, but like just for your own edification, I mean, I would just include who you are. I'd have a title slide or a title, whatever. You're going to talk to the title. You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to say your title and your institution. And then you're going to talk about, you know, the background. Why is this problem important? And then you're going to talk about what your hypothesis is of your research question. And then you're going to talk about what you did to answer your question. And then you're going to also include what you found out. And that's your outcomes, right? And then the other part that's really nice to have, especially if this is not just early research, is if you have data and stuff, is to include the results, include data, include evidence of what it is you found. And then finally, the other things that you'll want to include is you'll want to include your conclusions or your next steps. That could be like kind of like how this research could be applied, or how this research needs to be refined, something along those lines. Those are the things I would include. And then finally, the last one would be maybe a screen of acknowledgements and your references. Anyone have any comments to that? Anybody who's done this before and has anything they want to share? Any other questions?
Just definitely a suggestion from like my experience. Last time I presented, I made a mistake of kind of putting it towards the end. So definitely giving yourself time to practice a lot and record yourself. It's really good. So that's definitely just an advice from me.
Excellent. I agree. Brittany, you have a question? Go ahead and take yourself off of mute.
Hello, I have a couple questions. So one of the questions is when we're recording, I'm sorry, I don't know where my hand. When we're recording, is it okay to pause and then like continue and then to like unpause and continue? Or did you want like a video recording that's just one way all throughout, like without pausing? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So if you want to do that where you're kind of pausing in between, the technology I would use then would be PowerPoint with the voiceover that you can do.
Okay.
That's what I would do, because that way you can stop it and you can replay it again.
Is that also with video benefits?
Well, that won't capture you. Well, you know what? Yeah, I don't think it captures you, but I think there is another one that we talked about that does do it. Hang on one minute. I think it's this one here that might also give the option of showing your camera. But, you know, I'm going to also do a little research, guys, and I'm going to see if PowerPoint, now that, you know, they have a newer version out, if in fact that one allows you to also show your camera, because that would be super sweet.
Yeah, because that's what I want to do, but I was just trying to make sure. And then my second question is, what does unlisted mean? Does that mean that other people can still see it, like the general public, or no?
Somebody would have to have the actual link to be able to access it. And since you're submitting it, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Oh, you're fine. Any other questions, guys? Any other raised hands? Oh, Diana.
Yes, hi, thank you so much. I have a question regarding like the logos. This is the first time that I'm doing this poster presentation. And I saw before that some presentations have like the NSF. So what is considered like the kind of logos that we should use? For example, my research, I know that it is yeah, this is working with the NIH. So should I post that? That is my first question. My second question is regarding like, I saw in the form that it says like mentor. What is the difference between like listing my PI as a mentor instead of an author? So I don't understand that. Who
Okay.
would be considered like an author in a poster presentation?
Who would be considered the mentor?
The author or authors.
Oh, those are the other authors. So like, for instance, if like you publish with maybe 2 or 3 other students and the PI, then you can include those other students in the list of authors.
Okay. Okay, so should I put like my mentor in both parts, like when it says in the form like mentor and also in the poster, in the actual poster?
I wouldn't put the mentor in bold. I would put your name in bold because you're the one presenting.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then to answer your other question about the logos, general rule of thumb, I don't know if you guys can see my screen right now at the bottom. Can you see this right here?
Yes.
Yes.
Lewis 6 Midwest Regional Center is funded by blah, 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 award numbers, yada, yada, yada. If in fact you're doing research at a university, if you're doing it through an REU, a research experience for undergraduate, if you're doing it as an LSAMP student, more than likely, this is being funded in some form or another by some sort of federal grant. You need to ask your mentor or your PI what we need to include. So for yours, Diana, with the NIH, I think that it would be very reasonable to put the NIH logo there, and then something to the effect of this, where you put the project name, what the award number is, and the dates of the grant or something like that. But just ask your mentor as to what it is they would like to have on there, because some institutions have different rules. And the other types of logos I would consider including would be your school logo and any other collaborating schools that maybe have been on it. So maybe like maybe your mentor is like at University of Missouri, but you're at Harris Stowe. You might want to put both of those logos then.
Great. A follow-up question. I did the research during the summer and I got a stipend from the McNair program. Should I include the McNair as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to include the McNair.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Brittany.
Okay, another question. Once we're recording our video, should we, because I want to do the showing my face and the poster, so my question is, should we only show the poster or have like some sort of slideshow where it shows the poster and then like the slides after that would be zoomed in portions of the poster?
I like that second option myself. It's a little extra work. In fact, it's a lot more extra work, but to me, the presentation is just so much clearer, and it's really received very well by the judges too.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, about the acknowledgement. We have a collaborator that is not based in the United States, but they contributed to our research with some data. Should we acknowledge them or?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I definitely would.
And also the universities to which they belong, right?
I would. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No one's going to say, "Oh, please don't put my logo on something." So everybody wants credit. So
Okay.
make sure you give them credit, because that's one way to build rapport with your mentors and your colleagues.
Okay, great.
Also, just lastly, if we get a grant, do you recommend including in the acknowledgements towards the end, or just to clarify?
Yes.
I think you might have missed it. Okay.
Yeah, I would put it at the end. You could put it there kind of like with your references and things of that nature.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? Just making sure I'm not missing somebody. Oh, hang on. We think we got some Q&As. Can you repeat the second option was for presenting? The second option, guys, is this one right here. This is like what I call the talking head. This is where I'm just recording myself in the frame and you're not seeing any of the poster. The only way the person can see the poster is if they are on the symposium page and they click on the PDF and they open it up. Does that make sense now? That's what the second option is, Alexandria? Okay. Somebody says, could we upload our video on the LSMRC YouTube channel? Oh, absolutely. If you want to give it to me, send me your MP4, I would be happy to do it for you. Yeah, that's not a big deal at all. Just that some students like to have control of it, but yeah, just send it to me. I'm happy to post it. And are we going to get a confirmation email that the video can be viewed properly? Oh, so you're wanting to know whether or not like it uploaded right and if it's going to open and play correctly. Yeah, we're going to do all that. So you uploaded on the 11th, then my job is to go in between the 11th and the 15th when the judges start and go through everybody's different presentation to make sure everything's playing correctly, everything's open correctly. So if you see an email from me that week, make sure you answer it because there might be an issue. But for the most part, we did this last year. We used the same platform. It went flawlessly. I mean, honestly, I was expecting it to be like a dumpster fire, and it was beautiful. We had very few issues, and most of it was like things like the PDF wasn't at high enough resolution or something like that, and it was just a way they had to save it. All right, does that answer everyone's question? All right. All right, we're going to go zip through here. Presentation include uploading your materials, your checklist to do before October the 11th. We went through that. Here's your checklist to do on October the 23rd. This is the date of the conference. We talked about you're going to log into Symposium. Should be no problem because you've already created your account, right? By 1 p.m. Eastern time, you're going to find your poster by searching for your name. You're going to open your poster and you'll see that it has everything there that we saw before in the demonstrations. And then when you scroll down to the bottom, in fact, I'm going to hit new share. I'm going to go back to this poster, perhaps. Sorry, I hope I'm not making somebody seasick. All right, so on this example here, you see how we've got our video or the recording, we've got the uploaded PDF, and then here's your abstract. So if you keep scrolling down, there's this comments box, and this is exactly where you're going to have that conversation with the attendees. So during that 1 to 3 p.m., judges, industry representation or industry reps, mentors, people that are looking for students maybe, and other conference attendees will be all looking at the different posters. And if they have a question, they'll put it in the comments box. Now, here's something that I almost hesitate to tell you guys, but since you showed up, I'll tell you. It will automatically email you when somebody posts something. So it does not require babysitting. You just basically say, oh, somebody emailed me, I'll go out now and respond to them. But I would take advantage of that time. And instead of like watching Netflix while I'm just waiting for my comments to come in or whatever, I would spend that time, as I said, going back and looking at other people's posters, commenting on their posters, have that back and forth with people. That's how I would handle it. So does anybody have any questions about how this comment box is going to work?
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you reply to them, do you text reply or do you like vocally reply to them?
Text reply.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have that understanding of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's really very.
This is my first time.
No,
yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah, no, it's very different than in person. Anybody else have questions? Okay, well, we're going to just jump back over to this slide real quick and we're almost done, guys. I promise. I'm going to let you go. All right, so checklist for the 23rd. Oops. Find your poster, find your comments box. Now, when I go upload my poster or when you go upload your poster, I would encourage you to go ahead and start seeding that conversation by putting the first comment in there, something that will elicit people to come and interact with your poster, something along the lines of, I can't wait to show you what I found out, or something along those lines, and there's a couple examples down here. That right there will help people feel like they can reach out to you and have that conversation. And then finally, you're going to monitor your comments box. But as I told you guys, it will notify you. All right. Questions on this, anyone? All right. So finally, before I let you guys go, a couple things to remember. You know, I talked about it before, I'm going to say it again. Make use of this time. Go out, look at other people's posters, see what they're doing. You never know what kind of ideas are going to generate, or maybe how you might get your next mentor or your next even co-researcher. I talk about here, like, you know, if you see a poster that fits your interest, you know, if you jot down that mentor's name, then you can always go out to the university or go into Whova, find out more about that person, and then maybe reach out to them directly and see if they have any sort of research positions in their lab, something along those lines. As I said, the attendees who attend the conference, poster judges, representatives from industry, they're all going to be in Whova in the directory. So you can find any and everybody in there, and it's searchable by name. And speaking of Whova, I know Whova and Symposium, they're two different things, but I'm going to use the same email, you guys, to give you access to the systems. You will still need to create a password in Whova. And what Whova is going to do is it's going to give you this wonderful opportunity to get in there and like network with people, use a discussion board, see the agenda, visit all of the different things. We're going to have a resource fair. Lots of different graduate schools and internship opportunities are going to be there. And then the other thing that we're having, guys, I'm going to just go ahead and let's see, do we have time? Yeah, 3 minutes. The other thing is that I don't know who here, by show of hands, has seen Coded Bias, the documentary on Netflix. Anyone else? No students have seen it? No one's seen it? Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, it's out there on Netflix now. And the whole idea behind it is that this one PhD student that was going to MIT, they go through their student orientation. As they're going through the orientation, one of the things that they need to do is they need to use biometrics in order to access the MIT systems. Well, they come to find out that because they have dark complected skin, the biometrics don't read them. And only when she put a white mask over her face did the biometrics recognize her. And so the whole idea behind the documentary is that, you know, there is bias coded within our AI, and that we as technologists, as STEM innovators, we have a responsibility to make sure that we're doing things ethically and we're keeping in mind everybody as we're designing these things. And so we're going to send out a link that you can see the Coded Bias for free if you don't have Netflix. And then at the conference between 4 and 5 p.m. on Saturday, after the resource fair, we're going to have the filmmaker be there for a panel discussion. So anyways, I'm excited about it. I hope everybody else is too. And again, I'll send those.
Sounds like it's going to be a good event. Awesome. I didn't know about that documentary. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it's fast. I mean, it's fascinating, but fascinating in a sad way, you know, in some ways. Yeah. But it's good that, you know, it's bringing it to light now, you know, exactly, that we can now recognize and start making changes.
For sure. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, somebody is late. Oh, yes. So if somebody showed up late, no worries. We have recorded the session. I will be sending out the recorded session, the slides, and other things that we talked about in an email to everybody that registered and to basically all poster presenters. Other than that, I think that we're at that point where we're done, guys. How do we do on time?
Pretty good, I'd say.
Oh man, okay, I'm gonna treat myself tonight. I get a peanut butter cup.
Yeah, you did great. It's right on time.
Well, I certainly hope that, you know, at least through this experience, even if you didn't learn a whole lot, that at least, you know, you feel like I'm approachable and that you can reach out if you have any questions at all. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thanks
all right.
so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.